We're back with part 2, and we're here to talk to you about some more geekery and wonderful things. So we're going to talk to you about role-playing games.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been playing together
Years.
3. I can't remember how many years, but it's been a while now.
It's been quite a long time.
It had first started out with my original campaign, this high fantasy world of Athalia and wizards and magic, and your typical fantasy, but
Wizardry.
with a twist. Wizardry, yes. Thievery.
Flying bat.
Yeah,
mammal
the
things.
bat. Yes, the bat wings. I remember
Mammal
those.
man.
And I believe there was a gnome situation at one point
Yes.
in an airship.
Yes.
And
there were
zombies. Yes.
And all types of things. And demons that certain characters banished to tropical islands.
That's a good story to tell.
Yes. Well, it started as a joke, really. My brother kind of egged us on because we were in this campaign. We'd gone to this obsidian pyramid theory, thing. Had this kind of maze-like building. We got to the center of this maze, and there's this chamber, and there's these imps and demons and shit. And we meet this demon, and he gives us his choice, and and he's like, you can either, go to the nether world where you'll be happy and stuff like that, but we're going to destroy everything, so you're going to die anyways. Or you can keep fighting us, and, bad things will happen. So I was like, I'm going to take you up in your offer. And I shook his hand, but I had a ring or something that allowed me to go to this tropical island.
Yes,
And I took him there and then just left him there. But this was not actually my idea. When we did this, my brother said, dude, you should take him to that place and leave him there. And I was like, nah, that's not going to work. The DM's not going to let me do that.
The way you got that was you pulled a card from the deck of many things.
Yes.
And it gave you this item that opened up a portal to this tropical island where you had this mansion or whatever it was. Castle.
Yeah, it was a little house.
A little house, yeah. And then you could jump back to the other world.
Kind of like the island in Lost.
So he gets this awesome, cool item. This
great item.
Cool item. I think it was custom made, probably.
Yeah.
And then...
There's a demon in it now.
And then now there's a demon there.
Well, I mean...
It made sense. It was perfect.
What else would you expect Ragnar to do with a tropical island?
Exactly.
He's a man who likes the snow.
Right.
He doesn't like tropical islands. So he doesn't like demons either.
So it all played out perfectly for the players.
Yeah. And
what was the other one? The bridge. Remember the guy on the bridge that he was frozen and you just knocked him over the bridge?
Yeah.
Higher.
That happened quite a bit. My character and my brother's character were probably some of the most, I wouldn't say ruthless, but I would say we exploited the game a bit. Sometimes we would do things that people generally didn't think about.
That's all right.
And it's not, I'm not trying to apologize for that because it's a good thing. But the reason that is because we're so used to doing that.
That's awesome.
Because in Nick's campaigns, it's utter hell. Some campaigns, you don't know if your character is going to live.
Well, he runs the Cthulhu.
Not just that, he's run D&D campaigns that have been ridiculously tough. The man, and it's a great, don't get me wrong in thinking that's a bad thing. It's a great thing.
Right.
Because you have that fear that this dungeon could be your last dungeon.
That's pretty sweet.
And for me and Mason, the other person involved in these campaigns, we've developed a D&D playing style that is very much like a modern or a Cold War spy. That's how we operate. We know when to get out of a situation. When a situation has gone to a point where we could die, we get out of there. So that's what we do. Now, don't get me wrong, we finish it. But there's always situations where I think now is the time we head back.
Let's get out of here.
Nobody ever does that though. Everyone's very arrogant when they play D&D. Everyone thinks that they're going to win. It could be the most baddest, meanest monster that the DM could think of.
Yeah.
They will fall into it. That's right.
That is funny, the different play styles of the people that I've played with through the years.
Yes.
There's the power-hungry player that just wants whatever he can find and scrounge his way up to power.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the role player.
Yes.
To me,
I love
that's
the role
my
players.
favorite. Yes, exactly.
I
Because
try to be more role playing.
yeah, that's what I say. Like the minute you just let go and like just role play, like
Yeah.
suddenly the game becomes that much better. I think.
Yeah.
So.
And then you have the characters that are really like they're trying to get 110% out of their party,
Yeah. Yeah.
and characters that are really using strategy, but at the same time at the expense of role playing.
Yeah, there's a fine line there because
Yeah.
I think strategy is very important.
Yeah.
Like if a battle,
It's
you can
extremely
plan
important.
a battle ahead of time and control
Yeah.
the battlefield. You've won it already.
But as a DM, it's kind of not so much your job, but it's a weapon that the DM has to
Yep.
make a battle not work the way players want it to.
Right, exactly.
And it's almost a duty, but it's not completely duty. But it's a good thing because if a DM can have the players think that they know how the battle's going to go,
Mhm.
and then just flip it over,
That's awesome.
it's great. I mean, you don't want to kill. It's preferable not to kill everyone.
Right.
At least you don't want to kill everyone off.
That's always been my downfall.
But there are ways of almost killing your players, or giving, or just having one chance where one character can die. I think is the key, is to have little situations where if they dig themselves a hole that's deep enough, and they keep doing it, because there are players that do that. I've seen players that will tempt fate, time and time again,
yeah.
and DMs never seem to do it, but Nick does. And I think you've done it a few times where you've been like, there's situations in some of your campaigns where I felt like I could have died.
Yeah, I like to
that
make
moment.
players feel like they're gonna die, but I never really. The only time as you were talking about this, my mind was going, "Oh my god, I remember the situation." My friend Artie was playing a character named Killian. He was a mercenary, an ex-gladiator mercenary, and he sat down on a couch in this tower. They were trapped in a tower, and they had to figure out how to get out of it. Well, the couch was trapped with a 10d10 damage explosive detonation thing. It literally blew him to pieces all over the walls. Now,
there's no way you can get out of that.
They collected all his pieces. And eventually they went to someone who was able to bring him back. But, like, that was the only time that I was just like, there's nothing
There's
I can
no
do.
way
I
you
planned
can
this.
finagle this guy out of here.
Right.
There's just no way. Like, as a DM, you're like, I didn't think they were going to fall for this.
The downfall of that game was giving them a deck of many things, my custom deck of many things, because the good things are really good, like gain 3 levels.
Yeah.
And the worst things are face a Trask by yourself and win or
It's
die.
just awful.
Yeah.
But-
But the good is good.
Yeah.
And so they took their challenge. And most games every week would end with, I want to draw a card.
Mhm.
And they'd each draw a card. And
Deck of many
yeah,
things.
it's a good time. And Brad had actually built a database for all my 200 whatever it was, like things, so you could click on the cards, so you could show your players.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you at some point. It's really neat.
You know what I think would be a good idea?
Mm.
To write a little anthology book about the different characters in your campaigns.
There's a lot of them.
Because, have like different characters like Ragnar.
Right. I'm going to have
Shrek.
all of those. And then I've got, Pete, I was telling you about Janix. You
Yeah,
guys were going to
Janix.
find Janix.
We met Janix.
Janix.
We had all these experiences with characters that were once player characters.
Once player characters. Like,
Yeah.
I literally have, like, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm just saying, like, I've got, like, 20 years of playing in Athalia, and I've probably got, like, 1,000 years of history from it. Like, there's so much that, like, I may not know every region what was going on at the time, but I know that, like, the main storyline of Athalia, I could tell you about 1,500 years of, like, history.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome to have that, because it
I
makes
bet.
it so easy to run a high
Because
fantasy
the mythology's
campaign.
already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to worry about creating a new world.
Right. All these NPCs are already in place.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. I'm having a bit of a rough time right now because, well, not so much a rough time, but a nervous time because I'm about to run a campaign.
Ah,
I'm running
you son of a bitch, dog.
I'm running a cyberpunk campaign. So it'll be like Blade Runner, which of course, you haven't seen yet. But
well, I kind of get the gist of it though. Like what it's like, I'll fall asleep through. Like I'll watch the first half hour. I could probably tell you the first half hour.
Yeah.
After that, it's like in, out, in, out, in,
Yeah.
out. And it's weird because I love... Harrison Ford is by far one of my 5 top favorite actors of all time. I love Harrison Ford, the actor. But when he gets on talk shows, he's kind of dry.
Well, yeah. I think he just intentionally likes to...
Yeah, separate himself
from that.
Yeah, and that's good for him. So that definitely,
that's probably why he hasn't gone insane yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he does fly helicopters, but, I mean, that's not insane. I mean,
he does voiceovers for commercials
He
sometimes,
does. Too. And he's saved people from the helicopter. He saved a few guys who got lost.
So I assume there will be another Indiana Jones movie.
I hope so. I hope that he's involved in it, but you never know at his age. I mean... Right,
he's 72.
I mean, it would be cool to have him as like a cameo appearance, like an old Indiana Jones talking about things that happened to him.
He could play like the narrator in an Indiana Jones movie or something where he continues to talk about.
Yeah.
They just have to recast.
Or about the younger Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Or young Indiana Jones.
It's just hard. It's hard to give up the fact that Harrison Ford would be the only Indiana. Well, I guess there isn't River Phoenix. I guess.
Yeah. Mad Max. That's another one. Of course, Harrison Ford's obviously not in that, but Mel Gibson.
Is this a reboot or is this a continuation?
This is a new movie.
Okay, so it's a continuation.
It's not so much a continuation, but a movie in between Road Warrior and the first one, or the third one. I can't remember. I think it's the first one, the Road Warrior.
I remember I watched a movie when I was a kid. I can't tell you the title now, but that I really liked a lot. I remember it was like, this guy wakes up and he's the last person alive on Earth. And the good first part of the movie is him trying to figure out what the hell is going on. The second part is him losing his mind. Yeah. And I think the third part was him meeting other people who had survived this Holocaust or whatever it was. That was one of my favorite sci-fis, and I can't remember the name of it.
Was it like black and white?
I think it might have been. It was old.
Could it have been a Twilight Zone episode?
Oh, maybe it was.
I don't know. Like, there are a few Twilight Zone episodes that were like that.
I was young, and I remember watching it and being like, "Ooh, that was my first."
That's where post-apocalyptic fiction wasn't originally.
Right. In the 50s.
Well, not so much originally, but like that's where it was. Like, people in the 50s didn't think about a tribalistic warfare going on after that. They thought of this the end of the world. You're the only person left.
Yeah.
Like, people are dead because that's during the Cold War.
Yeah,
that's when the fear of the humanity of the entire world just ending, and there being nothing after it.
And it wasn't at all basically kind of a bluff on Russia's part. They really didn't have the arsenal.
Well, they did. They could have blown us into the moon, but at the same time, I mean, they had some of the biggest bombs. They had larger bombs than we did. But thing is, Russia is Russia, and I think that a lot of people, I mean, you see videos today of Russia with the vehicles and the cars and the dash cams. Russia has not changed. It was like that back then, I'm sure.
It seems,
and it just seems like it could have been much worse than it really was. Right. Someone in one of those facilities could have messed up.
Yeah.
And that almost did happen. There's a story about a guy who saved the world.
Yeah.
In Russia, a Russian dude who saved the planet because there was a training, like a scenario that they'd put in place, but nobody knew it was a training scenario. So they were detecting missiles coming from America, and they were about to bomb us because of that. And this guy was like, "This doesn't seem right. I got to look over this." And sure enough, it was a glitch in their system.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and that happened during maybe the 80s, I think.
Dang.
I mean, it was crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, I had heard when we had the most bombs that we had nuclear weapons, we had enough that within like 6 months of the end of the world, they would still be dropping bombs. Like, that's crazy. It's very vindictive in a way too, because if you think about it, like if we get hit by nukes,
it's going to be over. Like the first thing, it's going to be over.
Like, I don't know. I feel like in a way we should be like, all right, you win. You know what I mean? Like,
but that was a time period where people had devoted themselves people
very
were
true.
beyond the point of fanatic to their country.
Yeah. It was like Rocky IV fanatic.
Yeah, like it was like patriotism was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't want to be thought of as a communist if you didn't believe in America. But I don't know. That whole time period is interesting to me.
It really is. I wish I could go back sometimes, because, like I said, I don't remember a lot of my younger years, but like I remember living in a little town of Mendon, Massachusetts, 600 population, teeny little town. And I remember, like, that was during, like, the height of the 80s Cold War.
Yeah.
Reagan had just been elected, and, like, every day it was just like, are we going to war? Is Cuba, the whole, like...
the Cuban Missile Crisis.
You're right. That was a moment of, like, hold your breath and, like...
It's like, ooh, crap.
We were in Massachusetts. They may have bombed Boston at some point, but I think we were further on down the line. Like, I think they would go after D.C.
They would probably bomb
New
a lot
York,
of the various manufacturing areas and high population areas.
Yep.
Boston would have been one of those places.
Eventually, yeah.
And Richmond would have been one of those places.
That sucks.
So it would have been pretty much every major city that in the U.S. Well, on the seaboard, they probably wouldn't have gone for the middle of the country as like maybe some of the larger cities and some of the military bases, but...
So you're saying we should move to Middle America?
There's nothing out there.
There's nothing out there. That's the problem. I kind of want to
go
out there.
It's already a wasteland.
I kind of want to spend a vacation week there.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it would be interesting to see Middle America.
There
like
is some really
towns.
beautiful places out there.
Yeah.
And especially when you go so far west that you're in the desert areas, you have these gigantic mesas and just the sky it's just ground, mesa... sky.
The best places to visit. Have you ever watched that nuclear video of Walmart where they pop up starting date and it just starts growing and growing and growing?
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's like a section of the country that's perfect because there's no Walmarts there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's go there.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Probably because there's not a big population there.
Yeah.
Probably not big enough for them to warrant putting a Walmart. So it's a good place to move.
Yeah, I love small town, like, I love Main Street America.
Yeah.
Like, old school Main Street America, like, Taunton, where I used to live, had that, but the rest of the town, all around it, had just, like, blown up, and big malls and all this crap.
It's funny, going to Philadelphia, and that was the first time I've been north.
Oh,
yeah, north.
That's right.
And it's funny, like, we're going into South Philly. Like, this is like, the industrial hellhole over here. And the thing is, Philly does not have the worst industrial hellhole on the America. There are worst industrial hellholes.
Right.
Like Detroit has a worst industrial hellhole.
It doesn't get much worse.
there are some places in Massachusetts that are fairly bad,
pretty bad.
But they're older because they didn't. That was an area where they didn't.
Right.
It moved because the car industry in Detroit, and of course, industrial. Massachusetts, of course, has its own industrial qualities, but they're not terribly as bad as Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh and
I like
Detroit.
their politics. I do like Massachusetts politics.
Pittsburgh isn't bad. It's really nice.
I know. I was so heartbroken. They went to go see a movie called The Door.
What we went to see?
What was the movie?
The Room. We went to Philadelphia to see an awful movie. Well, it depends on who you ask, but it is beautiful, and it's in the amount which is flawed. It is just a really bad movie, just so bad that it's great.
I got something in my eye. Let's see if I can. I doubt this is available.
Oh, I bet it is. I guarantee it is.
Really?
Guarantee it. There it is.
125.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a Blu-ray release.
There it is. Look at that vampiric looking dude.
All right. I gotta check this shit out. I am not illegally downloading this movie.
Yeah. I would... Yeah.
I wouldn't pay for it.
I wouldn't. I might, but that's because it
was compared to what? The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, it's compared to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that it's a very
cult classic.
Yeah, and it's an interactive experience. Like, you're in there with the crowd, they're throwing spoons at the screen because of the various spoon references in the photographs. It's just It's worth checking out. I mean, I can't get into it too much because the video length. It would take a long time to explain why I watched this movie. And
I wish I could have gone with you guys. And
well, I mean, we wish that as well, but I mean, it's a big commitment going all the way to Philly.
It is,
and especially for a person with a family, young family, it's just rough.
I could just sell them into slavery.
Yeah. I mean, you could sell them to various pirate ships. And
I'll probably just do that.
Sell them to some African warlord who's looking for soldiers. I don't know.
Hey, that works.
Yeah. But I mean, Philly trip. It's a great experience.
Yeah, I would like to go to
We went with a friend of ours, Randy.
Randy, he makes staffs.
Yes, he does.
I wish he had a website so we could put it on here.
But the chance of him having a website is very low.
Randy makes awesome
He's
staffs.
a craftsman.
Staves.
He is the embodiment of a dwarf.
Yeah, he really is.
He looks like a dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
He may be not as short as a dwarf,
Yeah.
but he is stocky as a dwarf.
We could.
And he's a craftsman.
Yeah.
He's a dwarf.
He's a dwarf. He makes some fine sticks, my friends.
He does.
If you guys are looking for walking sticks, let me know, and we'll find a way to get in contact
Randy
with him.
Williams.
Randy Williams. We'll get some pictures. We'll put them
Woodworker.
on here. Awesome stalves.
Stalves.
Anything else about D&D?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got crazy stories.
really
Craziest
do.
stories. Craziest stories. I mean, I've had incidents where I've had to kill fellow players.
Oh my.
I've killed 3 fellow players. My character is a Black Widow of the D&D world. I mean, some of which have been self-defense.
I think you and somebody in the game almost went to blows.
Which campaign?
The Athalia one. No, it wasn't Sam.
No, me and Sam's character were cool.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. I can't remember.
It almost happened in the Apocalypse campaign.
Between you and
Me and Sam.
Yeah,
Sam's character. It
that's
almost because Sam was like, "Oh, my girlfriend's gone missing," and I was like, "We need to get out of here." And I had a gun pointed to his head for some stupid reason. and it was like, wait, I shouldn't have a gun pointed to this guy's head.
I'm a bomb.
But then again, I mean, Solace had a lot more tricks up his sleeve than people realized. I
Yeah,
think at that time they didn't know.
Right.
Partly
right.
because I was kind of too lazy to go over it with you what I wanted to do with Solace. So it was just like,
it all worked out though.
do whatever you want. I don't care. I just want to shoot things.
It's
really.
tough to run a post-apocalyptic campaign.
It is. It's impossible, I think.
Unless, I feel like at least adding in... See, I like the way direction was going, but people who aren't fans of Stephen King probably didn't.
I love Stephen King.
See, because, we started moving in a Dark Tower direction.
Yeah.
In a certain sense. And I wanted to bring it back to my own thing, too. But, it's tough because I wanted the game initially to be about survival and, going to the nearest Walmart, seeing what's left. And then I thought about it. I'm like, that can only go on for so long.
And I have experience in this matter because I tried to run a Walking Dead campaign.
Ah, nice.
And this did not go well.
No.
It was a bad experience
Bad.
because survival is a mechanic that is almost impossible to replicate in an RPG because it's boring.
It is. The sad thing is, it's great to watch, great to read about.
Yeah.
But playing it is really
It's boring because when you're doing it in real life, you're doing it for survival. This is not something that is supposed to be a game. You're doing this.
It's not fun at all.
This is not fun. This is a bad experience. But in an RPG, you're doing in RPGs typically you're doing things that you normally do not do.
Right. I remember that you guys, the first thing you guys did, you went to, when you were leaving Lynchburg, you went to the Army Navy store in Madison Heights.
Yeah.
I've never been in there, but I know Army Navy stores, basically. So, but after that, every time you guys had to find something you didn't have,
it got ridiculous.
It did. It got boring, and it was just like, why would they do this?
And then someone would be like, there's got to be zombies in here. We've got to devise a plan.
And it would take an hour to get into the building.
Take an hour to get a plan, and we'd all be sitting there and be like, and then I'd come up with an idea and then be like, yeah, but that doesn't account for such and such, and I'd be like, yeah, you're right.
You were usually the lifesaver though, because you would just be like, okay, I'm doing this.
Well, I'm a very impetuous player.
Right.
I don't particularly care about the outcome. I mean, that may annoy some players. I don't think it does.
But it's a game, and it's
but
supposed
it
to be
needs
fun.
to be done. I mean, I will take whatever the DM is willing to throw at me to do at that. I mean, if he wants to punish me for that, he can.
Right.
But I mean, I'd rather do that and get out of game limbo.
Right.
Than to
then sit around all night
discussing
like, is this
philosophy.
door trapped or not? I don't know how many times in the
I mean, no offense to people who want to strategize, because it's a good idea.
It is. It's fun.
It's a great idea, but there are certain circumstances where it's important to make the story
tying up the game in the fun. At that point, it's time to be like, okay, let's just open the goddamn door.
Yeah, let's just open the goddamn door. There's
let's
no
just
trap.
open the goddamn door.
And for a lot of...
Oh, hello.
Did Katie get back to you?
Yeah, they got home this morning.
Oh, are you recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Video.
Real nice.
It
You know what? You know what episode this is?
I hope their chickens aren't in the trees.
1,
And something ate.
0, 0, 100.
Oh, 100.
We're assholes. Oh, God.
All right, what are we at here? We're at 26 minutes. Let me cut this one in half. So we've talked about sci-fi and
RPGs.
RPGs.
Kind of RPGs. We kind of just decided to go on everything, though, which
we
is
really
fine.
did. I mean, this is what I expected. Now, here's what I had to propose to you.
Yes.
Let's get Nick over here next time, and the three of us do one. And if your dad's into it, I'd say bring him in. Your mom's into it. Anybody who wants to come from your family. But I would like to do more of these, and I would like to do them regularly, and I'd like to get the whole D&D group together.
That would be brilliant.
And put out the old...
That's a great idea.
Camera.
It's a great idea. We need to have a I guess it would be... I can't remember. Oh, the Duh.
The Duh.
The Duh.
Lords of the Duh.
Reunion.
Yes, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
We haven't played a game in like... Well, I haven't played a game with you in like 2 months.
That will change.
As well it should. You see, here on the road to 40, we like to play D&D. we have fun with it, and if you got a problem with that, well, I don't know what to tell you. Thank you for always coming by. This has been episode 100 of the road to 40. It's been one of the best. Every time I've got a Castanai clan member over here, on here, it's been the best episodes. So, Jim, Karen, Sarah, what up?
We're waiting.
Yeah, we are waiting. We're going to do a lot of these coming up, I think. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And so, if you're loving these, please subscribe. If you know anybody who might like them, please pass it along via the Facebook or the Instagram or whatever. Don't forget to make somebody smile tomorrow. And make yourself a better person than you were today.
And also, stay safe in the wastes.
That too. And let's make the world spin a little happier together. I'm Jason Oliver. This is The Road to 40. And thank you for always coming by. It's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Good times.